Today we are sewing the Rosalie Peplum or dress pattern. Let's start with our pattern pieces. You'll need 2 back bodices, 1 in main, 1 in lining, 2 front bodices, 1 main, 1 lining, 2 ruffle pieces, 1 neck binding piece, and 1 skirt cut on the double fold or 2 skirts cut on the single fold. We're going to start with placing the front and back bodices right sides together. So we'll place our lining fabrics right sides together, and we'll place our main fabrics right side together. Then we are going to clip and sew at all 4 shoulder seams. Our next step is to take our ruffle pieces and gather with our preferred gathering method along that straight side of both ruffle pieces. Once your ruffle pieces are gathered, you're going to take the raw edge and hem each of your ruffles. Since I'm using lace for this pattern, I'm skipping this step. Now we're going to attach our ruffle sleeve. So we're going to take our main bodice and lay it flat so that the right side is facing up. And then we're going to take each of our ruffle pieces and place them on the sleeve right sides down along that arm side. And then we'll clip it in place. The gathered side should be clipped or pinned right along the arm side, while the hemmed side of the ruffle should be facing inward. Once you have both ruffles pinned to your main bodice, we're going to take our lining bodice, making sure that our back lining and our front lining is right sides together with our main front and our main back. And then we're just going to line them up right sides together and pin or clip along that arm side to sandwich the ruffle sleeve in between the main and the lining. Then we will sew along both arm sides. Now turn your bodice right sides out and you can set it aside while we begin on the neck binding piece. Now take your neck binding piece and we're going to fold it in half in length horizontally, then clip and sew the short side of the binding. Now we're going to take our binding and our bodice and we're going to place it around the neckline right sides together, making sure that the seam is to the back of the bodice, and pin it evenly around the neckline. Now you'll sew around the neckline to attach the binding to the bodice. The next step is going to be taking the binding and folding it down once to meet that other seam, and then folding it one more time to cover the seam. Pin and clip all the way around the neckline, holding that binding down on the double fold. Now we are going to top stitch our neck binding down, making sure that we don't stretch while we're sewing or we'll have a wavy neck binding. For this step, I like to use a long straight stitch on my sewing machine, making sure to backstitch at the beginning and at the end. Our next step is going to be to close the side seams. For this step, we're going to place our main fabrics right sides together and our lining fabrics right side together. The easiest way to do this is to open up your bodice, separating your main and lining, and then lining them up along those side seams. Once the side seams are sewn, go ahead and turn your bodice right sides out and place it to the side while we get that skirt ready for attaching. If you have two skirt pieces that you've cut on the single fold, you will place them right sides together and sew the side seams. If you cut on the double fold, we are going to attach that skirt now. With the skirt wrong side out and the bodice right sides out, we're going to place the bodice into the skirt upside down with the right sides touching. Pin the bodice and the skirt evenly around the opening. Then we will sew all the way around the opening, attaching the skirt to the bodice. Our last step is going to be to fold the raw edge of the skirt up a ½ inch all the way around and hem. And we're done. That's the Rosalie pattern by Retro Sparkle Designs. Can't wait to see yours. Make sure to share in the Facebook group.